What's up,
All right, well,
everybody?
welcome back, everyone.
Dennis, thanks for joining us. We part two of to trade or not to trade. How's it going, man?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I really enjoyed the first presentation. I really enjoyed the detail and the nitty gritty, which I think like a lot of times some of the stuff we're discussing people don't talk about. And I'm ready to dive into the topics we got ahead today. Some of my favorite topics.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what was the purpose actually, because the stuff that I'm talking about today or last time as well is really not so obvious, and there's not a lot of information about it, how to really structure everything. So let's jump right in. I just made a quick summary of the first part, just for the ones who missed it, but I highly recommend maybe not just only listen to what I say, but just browse through those slides that I put up yesterday, last week, because if you just read it, that's really gives you a good outline for your trading journey and whatever you have to do. We talked about 2 points out of the 4. First was trading as a business, and I said you basically have to write a business plan, right? With a detailed description of your trading setups, risk management, contingency plans, all the rules you got, the processes like journaling, periodic review, set some goals, be clear about your vision, where you want to get with this, right? Then the second part was skill progression, which is the methodology part, basically. Obviously, you got to continuously educate yourself. And what's very important is to deliberately learn through reviewing your trades and analyzing your setups and trades. How to expand your playbook, or that's wise to do so once you're comfortable finding more setups. And what's very important for account growth in general is how to learn how to compound. Yeah. We have been through a couple of these slides last time. We just overshot the goal a little bit. So I'll just leave this here. Get to the next because we got a bunch of stuff to cover today. We went through this slide here, basically. Let's see. It was important to basically find out who you are. Let me check my notes here real quick. By the way, if there's any questions whatsoever, right, please feel free to reach out again about any of these topics whatsoever. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Also in the Discord, no problem. Just write me a private message or tag me, right? It's just important to know who you are in this journey. Obviously, give you some clarity, just makes everything easier. And everything starts with you, right? The way you perceive things is just so unique, and you basically have the power to interpret everything that's going on in the world, right? Like the whole universe in your eyes, basically. And there is I don't know if you know the Einstein quote where he was asked, so is the universe, is it, chaotic? Is it good? Is it bad? And, he basically answered, it's a longer answer, but he basically answered that, it's your choice, right? How you want to see it. It's all up to you. And in that regard, it's just really important to reframe all your experiences in your life, even if they were really shitty. And I know a lot of people had some rather terrible experiences in their lives that leave scars, but there's one thing, it's also in this Future Self course here. What he's really pushing is that you have to see it in a way that it happened for you and not to you, whatever it was, right? Everything happens for you, so you can learn from it and you can grow from it. And yeah, since it's all about you, it's kind of like opening Pandora's box At least that's how it was for me, right? Because most people they're not aware, you know, you don't remember all the shit that happened to you as a child, for example, right? Maybe you had a shitty childhood, you know, but do you really remember all the details? And with growing and like becoming more aware of who you are, it's gonna be painful, right? You're gonna dig through some dirt, and that is the part of growth. It's just pain. So this is not very easy. Yeah, but growth and awareness and mindfulness is just all. It's all about awareness, self-awareness, and that is extremely helpful for your trading journey as well. Knowing yourself.
Can I ask you something, Dennis?
Yeah,
For the people listening who, maybe the newcomer, just people that like, well, what does this have to? How's this going to make me a better trader? So, using yourself for an example, like digging within, talking about the things we were just talking about. How did this improve your trading?
yeah. Like in the 2 slides ago, where it said that the market is uncovering pretty much everything that's going on inside you, right? Especially emotionally. So if you're trading, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed that um, there are triggers that you miss a trade or you FOMO, you're chasing, and then get your ass slapped because of it. It's triggering something in you, and those emotions they boil up, and they come from a rather unconscious place. And if you have some buried anger about whatever it is in your life, there is a very, very high chance that this is going to come up while you're trading. So overall, it's just very, very helpful to become a emotionally stable person as a trader. I mean, it seems pretty obvious, right? And yeah, I'll get a little bit more to that down the road. This will basically be the common theme of what I'm going to tell you guys.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's very good to meditate, right? Everyone is thinking about meditation as when it's about mindfulness. That would be the first thing that pops in your head. And just to make it clear how good meditation is for you, actually, I just listed these scientifically proven benefits, and you can tell how good these would be for your trading. Stress and anxiety reduction. Trading is stressful, right? We're going to experience a lot of anxiety while trading. So that's a benefit right there. Emotional health is just what I just said. Emotional stability is extremely helpful while trading. Awareness, probably the biggest one of all when it comes to trading. Because let's say you sit on your screen, you're taking a trade, it doesn't go very well for you, happens all the time. Are you going to be aware how that will change your mindset in that moment? And that's where meditation really, really helps. So you can recognize your triggers and your little emotional changes within you, catch them early enough and avoid further damage, right? Increased focus and attention span, that's a huge benefit that applies to us as well. Reduce of age-related memory loss, you can do this and be in this business for a long time. So it's a benefit as well. Fighting addictions. Um, yeah, I mean, maybe people have a history of addiction and get into trading might not be the best combination. You sleep better, helps control pain, and just in general, it increases your happiness. So for me, mindfulness practice definitely was a game changer, not just for trading, but in general area and life areas as well. When it comes to family, how I deal with my kids, it's just amazing. What I just wanted to say too is that just like in trading, spirituality and mindfulness is a kind of like a cyclical progression as well, right? You make some progress and you fall back on it, make some more progress, fall back. It's really hard to actually even just establish a habit of being mindful, which is another topic later, habit formation. And just in general, mindfulness is super, super powerful cure in so many different areas. I believe that kids should learn this in school, right? Um, it would be so helpful for everyone to be a little bit more aware, uh, just increase happiness. But you know how it is. Instead, they go through the program, and I guess they rather sell you pills in the end. Just as a definition, what mindfulness actually is, and I collected these throughout all the books that I've been reading, just basically the main messages. It's being in the moment while accepting and dissociating from your thoughts and feelings. Can you understand this properly, Ray?
Understand? I'm sorry. Say it again.
Do you understand what this means?
Uh, what mindfulness?
Yeah, no, the definition I just said, being in the moment while accepting and dissociating from your thoughts and feelings.
Uh, yeah. I mean, I think from I forget what study it was, but I think like for me, in the awareness and like my progression through the awareness, and I had to realize it was okay to feel like feel a certain way I was feeling. Let's say I was upset, and like sometimes I'd be upset that I was upset. Like, why am I uh upset? But having the awareness over time, um, they say just having the awareness dulls the effect of certain emotions, and you know, being okay with having the emotions and just asking why, um, has helped me, I guess, come to terms with the no attachment, no resistance, and it's still an ongoing
Mhm.
battle, and it's something I'm still constantly working on. I don't know if that was what you were getting at.
Yeah, yeah, totally. You said it. It's um, you have those thoughts, and if you fight them, they're gonna get worse, right?
Right. Hmm.
So you just gotta accept that they're there and live with them. And
Yep.
oftentimes they have a message for you, right? Maybe you can find out what that message is. And there's one thing also that's been the great awakening for me. Um, if you read anything about spirituality or world religions, all the teachings are the same across the board. And that actually the story of Adam and Eve, for example, um, that I didn't know until a few years ago. The original sin is actually the first thought in our head, right? The thoughts, that's the sin. And that for me was a great realization because we are not our thoughts.
Mm.
We learn all these things growing up, and our brain is telling us stuff like a chatter machine all day long, but that is not really who we are, right? That's the main message.
It's
In
powerful.
terms of yeah, in terms of attachment and resistance, um, if you are attached to something, you're basically setting yourself up for suffering because nothing is permanent. That's also one of the main messages there. And if you resist something, it's just gonna run you over basically. So if you find a middle way to not be too attached, and there's exercises you can basically do to find out what am I attached to. You write down what's really important to you, and then you think about, is it really that important? You know, obviously there are some things where the attachment is so great that there's no way to get over it for example, when I came up with this, it's like my kids, like, how can I have no attachment to my family, my kids, even though they're impermanent as well? You never know what's going to happen, right? Which is scary. And yeah, the interconnectedness, just be aware of what's going inside of you. Self-love, love yourself the way you are. There's a emphasis on process versus goal orientation. If you do your interviews with very successful traders, there's a common theme that they're all process oriented. They have very little goal orientation,
Hmm.
which can really mess up your processes. And if you dig a little deeper, you're basically God, you're light, right? We're all made out of this big crock pot created by the stars, or the stars that create all the elements. Um, and the last piece is the we versus I, because if you look at all these things, the mindfulness, it's all about yourself, right? And which is good because everything starts with you. But in the end, your purpose is to reflect what you learn. You reflect your positive energy onto the people you interact with, and that makes for a better life and a better world, basically. Just as the summary for what mindfulness really means out of all the teachings and books that I've read. I have a list of personal tips that I'm trying to apply on a everyday basis. But like I said, I'm I'm not perfect. I'm not Jesus. It's hard. You got to remember all these things, and takes so long to make these all these things a habit, even, um, and be aware, because you drift away throughout the day. You got so much stuff to do. You got your chores. You got your family life. You got your trading. It's hard to always come back and have a moment of awareness. It's really good to take a conscious breath, because all the mindfulness practices, um, they often start with being aware of your breath. Whoever has done meditation whatsoever, I'm sure you know, that's what's centering you. That's what brings the thoughts to your breath, away from all the distractions and thoughts that are flying through your head. So if you can just take a couple of conscious breaths during the day, that's just a little moment of awareness that just puts you back. And I think this really works for trading as well. I even experimented for a while with setting a timer um, on my watch that I have. This is like vibrating every hour or so. It's like, oh, okay, a little wake up, little awareness, take a breath, don't drift away too far in what you're doing. I like this one. The person in front of you is the most important one. That also obviously is um, in line with being in the moment, which is also a big part of mindfulness, just being in the moment, because that's all you got. Everything else is past or future, it doesn't exist. So if you're dealing with someone, that's the person that's most important. I try to do that. Let challenging moments pass through right away. That's also a good one. This is from Michael Singer. I don't know if have you read a book by Michael Singer before? Super,
I,
super popular.
yeah, no, I haven't. Obviously I've heard of him, but I haven't.
Yeah, he's really good. Very good author. He always refers to this with an example. When you're driving on the road, for example, and there's someone driving too slow or too fast, cuts you off whatsoever, that's one of those moments that you don't want to turn into a negative moment for yourself. And it's just this is tiny thing where you can practice to let things pass and not affect you, just
Hmm.
letting them go. You're getting really annoyed. You know what? Why are they driving so slow? It's stupid. Why would you even think that? They don't know. They're just doing their thing. Why would you be randomly mad at someone? Right? This is it's all in your head. Why would you be negative about something that you have no control over?
Hmm. I think, what it makes me think of too, Dennis, is, I've always taken a liking to Zen Buddhism, and then they talk about, like, it's one thing to like meditate, but then it's like one thing to take it into practice, right? Like you meditate to practice, right? Like that's,
Yeah.
so for example, like you're talking
Mhm.
about like driving the car, that's a part of meditation, like letting that angry thought go. Like that's why we practice these things. And so like going into trading, um same concept. Like if you get upset, let it go, boom. And like that's you practicing presence, and
Yeah.
awareness.
And being able to catch that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the first most important step. Yeah, always take responsibility. That is very big in trading as well. The market isn't up to get your money. It doesn't matter. It's basically like a big ocean. It doesn't care about you at all. Everything you do is you got to take responsibility for it. Don't make any excuses. And even in a terrible situation or a bad situation that happens in your life, um, it, it's like how do you respond to it, right? How do you frame that situation for yourself? That is your choice. If someone comes around and smacks you in the face, how are you going to react? You could get very angry and get into a big fight, or you could run away, let it go. Or how do you frame it? Is everything is in your head basically, and that's the very least amount of responsibility that you have in every situation. How you react it and how you frame it for yourself. Yeah, be mindful with simple tasks throughout the day. Doing dishes whatsoever. Just know you're there. It really helps, and you practice all these little things, starting small, and that is the practice itself, and that will really really help you in your trading. Of course, it's a little different if you're a swing trader, for example. You only have a few trades a month, something like that. Maybe this doesn't apply as much to you, but especially if you're a day trader, you're sitting in front of the chart a lot, then this is really really helpful. Yeah, daily meditation. I wish I would meditate daily. I have for a while, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes it's slacking off and life gets in the way, but just make time and do what you can. Make time for yourself. Take care of yourself. Also very important. I listed some resources in this regard. If you are looking into some sort of a more science-based introduction, um, on Audible, there's this thing called the Great Courses. They have basically university professors on all sorts of topics. I've done a few of them, really, really cool. The Science of Mindfulness by Professor Ron Siegel, a really funny guy. You can actually look him up on YouTube as well. And he has there's a presentation that he did for, I think it was Google, about his book. So you can maybe get this crunched version of this very long book. I think it's a 16-hour Audible or something. In an hour and a half on YouTube, where he makes a little presentation about it. No Self, No Problem is a really amazing book which compares all the science-based data to Buddhism. Really resonated with me as well. And then there's a whole bunch of authors on spiritual development in general. I just listed the ones that I like the most. There's a lot more, I'm sure. Michael Singer, I mentioned him. Don Miguel Ruiz and his son. That is they're called Toltec tradition. That's a Mexican, maybe you guys have read, what are those books from the 70s? Carlos Castaneda. It's some crazy stuff. Um, very, very amazing book. His most famous book is called Four Agreements. Check it out. David Harkins is a really good author on this, kind of the same than the Michael Singer. And in terms of meditation, if you have never done it, it's very good to do guided meditations at the beginning, obviously. Deepak Chopra is a really, really famous, popular Sadhguru as well. Or I know the guys from what's Veliafore, the something capital. I just lost the name. They do Headspace for all their prop traders, the prop firm.
Oh,
Or
Bellafiore.
yeah. What's the prop firm called again? Jeez.
SMB. SMB.
FMB Capital. I was like, it's 3 letters. I just lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They use Headspace a lot. The prop traders for meditation practices. I think it's a subscription-based app. Or you use something like Gaia. Also, really good is going to yoga. You know, if you have a gym membership or get a yoga membership, also super good. The next big topic I have here is creating habits, because whatever I suggested so far, also in the first part, if it doesn't stick, if you can't make a habit out of it, it's useless, right? So creating habits, I think, in our business is extremely important. This begins with daily structure and time management, and how you design your day. That was particularly important for me with having young kids. What's your daily routine? The situation is different for everyone. You're single, you have a family. It's good to maybe go through your day or have a little journal or book and do that for a week or at least a day or two, and see, okay, what am I doing at what time? How am I spending my time? Just write it all down, and then you can go through all that and see where you can clear it up a little bit and see where you're wasting time, right? What can you cut out and what's really important? And that's also very good laid out in the book Essentialism. A elimination of bad habits. Do that while you maybe journal what you're doing every day. That's for me was like an eye opener as well. Where oh, my daughter's screaming. Oh, I don't know if you can hear. Like, we're all addicted to our phones, right? It's crazy. Like how much time I spent with my phone, it was quite ridiculous. And then you got to do things like make it a bit harder for you to access, for example, Facebook. I moved my app into an extra folder, for example, so I don't go there anymore all the time. And cut out reading news. That's what I did a long time ago. Things like that, it's just too much. Morning routine is something that is very, very valuable in my opinion, especially as a trader. What do you do before you actually do anything trading related, and what are you doing in the beginning of your trading session? And I think Benjamin Hardy on that course is very big on this as well, where he says you have two different types of brain states in the morning. It's an alpha state and a beta state. And if you, for example, wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is what? Anyone?
Oh, well,
you grab
I
your
guess.
phone.
Uh-huh.
You grab your phone. Like most people do that. You grab your phone right away. And that way you're killing your alpha state, which is a more, you're still kind of like slow, have like slower brain waves. And this is a very creative state. And as soon as you grab your phone, you go through social media, that state is gone and you're instantly like on fast pace, high frequency, your brain is firing already. Yeah, so it's very, very good to have a solid morning routine, which often people suggest is including journaling, so where you really get creative, you write down some of your goals, your thoughts, you get them clarity in the morning.
I think that with the routine too, Dennis, the way I equate it, and I think like athletes understand this, right? I mean, like pro athletes have
Oh yeah.
routines, you know, and I think it just helps you get into that, alpha state, that flow state, to where, it's we're just in the groove, and I'm totally there with you. I think, habit, routine, um, yeah, I mean, you said it all pretty much.
Yeah, you keep talking for a minute. I'll grab my daughter real quick.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Bye, guys.
I think too, something else I wanted to say, like I've come around the past few years to, mindfulness, awareness, meditation, all those things. These things never came natural to me. And also I'm like, what is this like esoteric BS? And I would probably imagine some of you listening to this are maybe having these thoughts. I know I did at one point. But I think there was a story I heard, and I'm not going to repeat it because I would butcher it. But it's a Zen story, and it was talking about, like four horses. One horse barely needing the whip to run fast, and then going down the line down to the fourth horse who really needed to get really just whipped to really run. And equating that to, to us, and to for people who are very stubborn, who don't want to do this, who this doesn't come naturally to, that actually, that this will be the most, you'll be the best horse, like the worst horse is the best horse, and that going through these things, not coming naturally to you, when you start really hitting it, seeing these breakthroughs, you really, understand the importance because you've been on the other side, of that. Hopefully that made sense. But I was once very resistant to these things, and have come around to it. And a lot of times, I, like Dennis, like I didn't even. I think it took me a long time to even notice, the effects of these things, because it's very subtle, and I think sometimes it's
Mhm.
hard for ourselves to see it. But over the years, um, I think it's pretty much night and day. I mean, especially when I look back on like who I was, and how I used to think to what I am now.
Yeah, and progress can be very slow, and to break some of your bad habits, it can be really hard. And you can't just, okay, I'm gonna write down a morning routine. This is what I'm gonna do starting tomorrow. Most likely, it's not gonna work. You have to have some kind of benefit from it, or it has to make you feel good, right? If it doesn't make you feel good, where would, the intention be? Why would I follow through with this? But that's has a lot to do with discipline as well. So it's good to reward yourself. That really helps. There is a habit tracker, for example, you can use um, in the book Atomic Habits. Uh, he's suggesting that, and you can download that from the homepage. I got the book on the next page. Um, just just the act of crossing it off in the morning. I have completed my morning routine. Put a cross next to it on a little calendar. Just the act of that is just making you feel good. There's little things like that that will help you establish those routines, but it takes time. I mean, I still skip it sometimes. Especially in the morning. I trade California time, so I get up. My alarm is often going off at 5:15. It's like some smart alert I have on my watch. So it wakes me up whenever my sleep phase is lighter. So that's really early. Usually not feeling super great that early. And then it's sometimes really challenging to get out of bed and go through with your stuff. Not easy. All right. Mental well-being. Obviously, we talked about the mindfulness practices, and you got to have some form of active stress management. Um, and that can be a routine as well. Maybe you go golfing every Saturday with your buddies. You got to do something. You can't just grind and expect you're going to make progress. You got to take care of yourself. You got to de-stress on the weekends, and it's wise to create a habit that will help you with that as well. Okay, physical well-being, another. And there's a lot of habits, right? So all this together, I mean, I'm still working on it. It takes a long time to create habits in all these different areas. But yeah, to be fit and to eat well that's not a secret. It's going to help you trading better as well. Just working out, you go to the gym, it just makes you a little bit more resistant to stress, and that is scientifically proven as well. Big on sleep habits. Do you need to watch TV at night? Watch junk TV whatsoever. Keep your TV out of your room if you can. Just use it for sleeping. Get some good rest. It's very important in terms of a performance factor, because in the end, trading is, in my opinion, more of a high performance sport than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that will enhance or decrease your performance, you got to work out, what am I going to do, right? It's just like being an Olympic athlete, for example. My buddy always says, you're a boxer. You wake up in the morning, you crawl out of bed without a routine, without a warm up, nothing. You get in front of your screen and you trade. You're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You get knocked out real fast.
Yeah, I think it boils down to it, Dennis. It's like you got like people, you have to treat trading with respect and the stock market with respect. I know people throw around all the different numbers about what percent of traders are successful. I don't know exactly what it is, but we know it's small. So you have to treat this with respect, and part of it is treating this like it is like the Olympics, like it is a professional sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I forgot, I wanted to add for nutrition, I even do some supplements. I experimented with supplements for a long time. It boiled down. If you guys want to know what I'm taking every day, um, you know, I like some of these Chinese mushrooms for brain function, for example. I take some rhodiola rosea. Look it up. It's some herbal supplements, right? Nothing crazy, which is really amazing for stress. Just little things like that. Vitamins. Maybe at night, I'll take some magnesium. It's usually relaxing your muscles a little bit. Magnesium glycinate or whatever. I think, yeah, glycinate it's called. Yeah, ask me about it in the chat if you want to know more about it. I spend a lot of time researching that kind of stuff. That's kind of fun. Green shakes, whatever, green powder. Yeah, we talked about the strong habits around your trading routine. Extremely important. What's your pre-market routine? I think we talked about it last week. All the little things, my checklist that I'm doing. And then, yeah, having habits for what I said before, fun to de-stress, activities with your family time, also very, very important. And in the end, all the little habits that you're creating, they clear mental capital for you to increase your trading performance. So there's things that you just don't have to think about anymore. You just do them without having to spend a lot of energy on it. That's a habit, right? And all these are, like I said, performance, enhancing your performance. And when you don't have enough energy, for example, you don't sleep enough, those are the things that are going to come around and slap you in the face, simply because we talked about it before the session. If you don't sleep enough, you're already a step closer to blowing up, because um, if you are tired, your emotions may come up faster than they would if you're really clear-headed and fit. And I think Tentor says it in his book, where it's just influencing your decision-making while trading. So if you get into a state where your emotions start boiling up, and they do come up faster if you're not well rested, for example, then other brain functions will shut down, and then you're left with sometimes just this fight or flight um, response in your brain, and then you're fighting the market. And how is that going to go? Not good. That's why habits are very important, not just for trading, obviously. In terms of creating habits, what really helps is a habit tracker, and I would highly, highly recommend. I mean, this is nothing new, but I think he presented this in a very clear book, very easy to read, very popular book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. That's probably the best way to start learning anything about how to create a habit. Highly, highly recommend. He has a habit tracker you can download on his homepage. Maybe choose a few habits you want to create, not too many at a time. You don't want to start trying to create 10 habits at a time. Maybe start with 2 or 3 small steps, check them off, and reward yourself. But yeah, read the book. It's amazing. Eat the Frog by Brian Tracy, a popular author. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, also a very, very popular and famous book. And just like what I do in trading and in life, where I do my metrics report and writing down what I did and how my progress is going, the same applies for habits as well. Eat the frog. Someone just wrote in the chat, yeah, do the hardest thing first in the morning. That's pretty much what this book is about. Eat the frog. Yeah, you have to review periodically how it's going with your habits. Did you make progress? Which habits did you establish? And then once you have a few established, you can add a few more, because the ones that you have established, you don't have to think about anymore. It's a habit now. And now you have enough mental capital to add a few more, hopefully. We got about 15 minutes left. This I kept rather short. I'm not an expert in trading psychology, but it's obviously one of the more important things. But in general, everything is connected, right? Whatever I just said about spirituality and mindfulness, that already is trading psychology as well, or how to use it that way. Ray, are you there?
I'm sorry. What was that, Dennis? I didn't
I
realize you
said
said.
everything we just talked about, the whole spiritual mindfulness part,
Yeah,
that
they're hand in hand.
is trading psychology already.
Exactly, exactly. I look at like the psychology slash spirituality as just yeah, it's just one, really. Um it's just, I guess you got one's more scientific, one's a little bit more, I guess you would say, in the science, or in the spiritual realm.
Yeah, the one separation is maybe where in trading psychology, it's more about seeing how the human brain works and how that might not be so good in terms of your trading, right? It's very
Hmm.
counterintuitive, the trading is.
Sure. Yeah.
And well, yeah, what
I
I,
think often I
yeah,
think often it's funny, like you'll see, like I think a lot of times they, the science or the psychology will a lot of times prove um, certain aspects of to what the spiritual side of things have been saying or been advocating, and then you'll see the science a lot of times like line up with it as well, which I find
Mhm.
real neat.
Yeah, that's super over the last, decade, maybe two, where there's just more and more studies coming out that just prove exactly what, these spiritual teachers 2, 3,000 years ago already were preaching,
Yeah,
proven
it's
everything
incredible.
true. Amazing. Yeah, and in general, I got this from the Van Tharp 101 Peak Performance course. It's an expensive course, um, but I would highly recommend it if you have the money, the time to do it. It took me 3 or 4 months to complete. It's massive. um, he says there's two ways to learn how to trade, and those are very separate from each other. One is just pure methodology, right, and the correct application of your system or your setups, whatever. And the other way is ways to deal with the problems that are occurring while trading and just developing those beliefs and attitudes that will support your profitable trading. Very, very important. Those are two very, very different things. Just a summary of what trading psychology is. It's the emotional component of a trader's decision-making process. And you basically have to understand your mental states, such as greed and fear, what they mean for your trading. What's supportive of your trading and what is not. Um, in general, what I said, understanding human behavior and natural instincts, which very often go completely against what you should do in the market. That's also why some of the more um, opposite bias traders are doing so well, if you know how to apply it.
Hmm.
And just in general, how to learn how to understand your personal character, um, what your strengths are in the market, and what is your weakness, which would then lead to a style of trading that matches your own personality, hopefully, and what conflicts are inside of you. We talked about that before. What are your values and how is all of this influencing your trading? You have to really learn how to understand all these things. And then also understanding psychological biases, which is basically means whatever your reality is, it's very subjective, right? And then on top of it, it changes with your mood and your mental state.
Hmm.
What are your cognitive abilities, which most people completely overestimate, right? Um, that's why a lot of um, teachers preach that it's best to have a simple trading plan. The simpler, the better. Doesn't need to be very complex, whatever, a few indicators, that's all you need. And yeah, how is all this affecting your trading? And
Yeah. If I could interject, Dennis,
yeah,
just on like a bunch of these points. Another good book recommendation I would throw out there, which I just got done reading. It's a bit like academic, but the knowledge in it is amazing, and it's by Daniel Kahneman. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. He's a Nobel Prize
yeah,
winner.
yeah,
I'm sure some of you are familiar with him. He wrote Thinking Fast and Slow. This is another book. It's called Noise. Um, and he talks about a lot of this, about our biases, about noise, about just how bad the human brain is
yeah.
at prognostication. And like they have studies of very extensive studies, and that just shown only a very, very select few of the population is actually good at predicting, certain events. And
Mhm.
what brings up like why these guys are good at it where everyone else is bad. It just the way our brains have evolved, just don't make us good at these things. And I think just for myself, I mean, this is something, taking it back to the poker days, Dennis. I started to learn and understand. But I think I think most people don't like understand this, that our brains are like literally just not wired for these things. Like
Yeah, they're not.
for assessing, like predicting the future or where something's going to go. And like, I think like, just understanding that fact is just like immense. And yeah,
Yeah,
I suggest
because
doing
our
some reading
brain
on it.
is, yeah, it's pattern based. It's just trying to, whatever it thinks is going to happen is based on your past experience. And that's the problem, especially in the market, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen. But it's good to have that awareness. And that's where all this awareness is coming into place. Because if you are aware with how you work and everything that's going on, then you can just work with what you got. And that's the whole point.
Mhm. And he did. Oh, and
Yeah.
just last thing to the point
Uh-huh.
you were saying about keeping trading simple, which one, like pretty much every podcast guest we've had has echoed that. But he also talks about that too in the book, like when people are creating systems, like systems, a lot of times just very simple inputs beat very like exaggerated, or not exaggerated, but a million different inputs. Now it depends on what you're trying to prognosticate, but a lot of times just simpler the better. And I think that especially applies to trading.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not, people think it's all about the system, right? Especially back in the days, it was all about finding the right system. People pay money for systems. And for example, if you have proper risk management, if you're really, really good at risk management, you could probably throw a dart at a chart
Yep.
and make money.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, why trading psychology? We just talked about all this already. It's all about awareness, increasing your awareness. And for me, it was very big, um, just the plain realization what big of a struggle that trading is actually, right? Because it is an upstream battle against all your human instincts and all your emotions. It's just a constant uphill battle against yourself, basically. And what I also said before is it's a high performance sport. So you see yourself as a high performance athlete, um, going to the Olympics every day, having competition every single day. And
Hmm.
that can take a toll on you as well. So you have to take care of yourself. And uh, for me, it was very hard because I would do so much that I would almost always be on the edge of burnout for a long time until you finally realize, okay, I mean, I can't keep going like this. This is not sustainable. And then what happens too is you grind so hard, you're on the edge of burnout for so long, the market will eventually just smack you in the face. And that's what happened recently to me. I've been on a crazy winning streak until it was over. Well, the market conditions are right now are a little bit tougher too, but I just gotta keep going and keep working, take that opportunity, maybe in slower times of the market as well, where you have time uh, to spend on all these things outside of trading that I mentioned throughout the webinar. Do you have anything to add? I think we're almost through the seminar.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, well, I love that third bullet point you got right there. Well, the middle two, really, trading is a struggle. Trading is an upstream battle against human instincts and emotions. I think, yeah, it goes to, kind of like the spirituality we were talking about before, right? And just the concept that life is suffering makes it like easier, or just it just all goes back to awareness. Having the awareness just dulls the effects, or just gripping with the reality of things is what
Mhm.
helps you take the next step. Just
I
gripping
think it's,
reality.
yeah, it will stay a struggle.
Yeah.
This shit is happening in your life, but how do you deal with it? Are you gonna let it run your life, or can you at least almost like step outside your body sometimes and just watch at yourself from outside? Like, oh, okay, this has happening to me right now, but I'll be fine. And um, the, the thoughts that I'm having, the anger, whatever it is, that's not me. It's just an emotion. Those are just thoughts. They come and go, just like clouds in the sky. Just got to keep going. Oh, and one last point in terms of awareness during trading. Um, that's a section that I just finished in the Tendler book as well. Having increased awareness um, is going to help you in your life, obviously, to step out of these situations where you know things are getting a bit rougher. In training, it's the exact same thing. But there usually is a threshold when you cross that line. It's really hard to go back, and the awareness will help you to catch you early enough in the process of getting to the point where things get bad, right? Where you can actively do something before it's too late. And that's very, very important during your trading sessions. You don't ever want to get to the point where your um, fight or flight response is kicking in and then you just can't see anything anymore. I do have a few resources in terms of trading psychology. My favorite books in the list. I'm sure you heard of most of them. This is the Peak Performance course, really amazing. I just finished the Mental Game of Trading. Highly recommend that book. But I said it yesterday. That's not a book you just read, right? This is something you should probably spend weeks, if not months, with, and always go back to. This should become a toolkit for your trading, basically. You gotta, just like a professional athlete, you gotta exercise over and over and over and over the same thing again until you're 100% on it. You're an absolute expert about your setups, about yourself, and how to respond to certain situations that are coming up. Um, Radical renewal. You guys, have you done an interview with Steenbarger yet?
Yeah, we have. It was, oh, man,
Oh,
maybe a
really?
year or so ago. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, really good coach.
yeah, very good.
This is free. I think this is a really great book. He didn't publish this. He made a online blog out of it, or it's an entire book, but you can read it for free on this page. Yeah, he has a daily trading coach. That's a great book as well. Very intense, though, a lot of information, very compact. Trading psychology, trading in the zone, the classic, and just then in general, your podcast, for example, listen to the guys that already made it, because what you learn there, the best is how they think and what their mental strategies are, their mindset, basically. And yeah, that's it for the seminar. I hope you liked it. And as the conclusion, don't stop improving. That's the beauty of our business, is that there's no cap. The learning curve has no end. There's unlimited growth possible. And, in the end, maybe I won't even make it. Maybe I'll find out that I want to do something else with my life. Who knows? But in the end of this, um, maybe you'll find out I don't need that much money at all. Maybe I'll move to Costa Rica, live in a simple life and surf, or do something of a higher purpose, saving the planet, or start my own business, whatever. Um, know that in the end you'll be fine. But yeah, but if you really want to push it, you treat your trading like a business, and you have to invest in that business, which is you, every single day. you get organized, you work hard, 100% commitment, I think is very, very important. Learn how to know yourself and love yourself, love the game. Because if you don't like trading, and that can actually happen, right? If you get to the edge, like I said, of burnout too often, it can actually be quite hard. You kind of, the love for the game just goes away and it's becoming more of a chore. And that, if you feel like that, you know, you got to step away from it for a little while.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, and don't give up. If you give up, you're done. But yeah, if you have enough grit, you'll eventually get there. And one of my most favorite quotes by Kuroi Suzuki: "You're perfect as you are, but there's always room for improvement."
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, Ray. Did you have
Yeah.
anything to add, or if there's any questions, feel free to reach out in Discord
Yeah. Yep. If you guys got
anytime.
any, yeah, if you guys got any questions, got them in right now. I think the only thing I would say, Dennis, that I think is like really helped me too along the lines of, obviously trading, and this is like a spiritual concept that, that bad is actually, what we perceive as bad is actually good. And how I relate that to trading is, a bad trade, maybe a bad month. Pain spurs on growth. And so I think just accepting that, um, and, I guess in simple terms, we could say like learning from your losses, things like that. And like not, and this is only me personally saying, but like I can be very hard on myself. And like when I don't do well, um, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Like it's good to push yourself to get better, but you also don't want to bring yourself down. You want to have some compassion for yourself, and then just me embracing the paradoxical nature of that, like that bad is actually good, has been highly beneficial to me. So, if anyone like struggles with that, or that you need some pain for growth. And just keep that in mind if trading's tough or you're going through a rough patch. Just keep your head up, just keep at it, and make sure you learn from it.
Yeah, growth is pain.
Yep.
If you look at some of the most successful people, I'm sure you asked their story, that was not a easy ride for all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never happens.
Well, Dennis, man,
All right.
appreciate you, man. It was great. Both series, man. I love talking about these things, which I think most traders don't actually talk about. I don't know really know who does. So I really appreciate you sharing this with us. It was great.
Absolutely. What I'll do next probably is do a little workshop for the people in here that use TradingView. I asked that, and it was a few responses. So keep an eye out for that.
Awesome. Good stuff. Looking forward to it. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. If you guys got any questions, obviously you can, DM Dennis, DM myself, DM JJ. JJ, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
I see
JJ.
JJ in the chat. What's up? Oh, much
Hi,
love,
guys.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Peace.